Undertale has taken the indie game world by storm. Its fun habitat of strange characters, unique twists on old game mechanics, and self-aware nature have made it an instant classic and earned it a lot of love. I'm not even sure what I can say here that hasn't already been spelled out a million times by the swarms of Undertale fans on Tumblr. But I love this game too, so I wanted to try anyway. Wow, we're on a time limit. Spoilers are a Class A no-no here, so our footage is paper thin this time around. Undertale lures you in with a fantastic music score, making you feel at home playing with old NES-era gaming tropes while slowly pressing a shotgun into the back of your feels. One of the strongest elements of the game is its decisions, non-lethal combat solutions through talking. And while turn-based combat is almost the oldest trick in the book, spending your turns complimenting your enemies or telling them jokes is certainly a rare spin. Undertale has a lot going for it to make it the powerhouse indie game it is, but the mechanics of its combat are what take it from a pleasant little story experience to a wonderfully crafted game. Undertale gives you a number of key options on how to play the game right from the start. Combat isn't optional, but fighting is. Pacifist runs, where you befriend as many of the monsters as you can, or genocide runs, where you kill everything, are reinforced by the game's narrative, ending up with not just different endings, but strongly different games. It's not entirely off that standard Renegade Paragon choice we all know too well these days, but its scope is drastically bigger. Oftentimes we play games full of choices only to discover from our friends how little we've actually changed. So in Undertale, Toby Fox takes it to the extreme. You choose who lives or dies. And what makes this so powerful is that Undertale asks you this same question all the time, never with big flashy icons screaming, "This is a choice!" but in its combat, every time you take a turn. That is what really makes Undertale stand out to me. These choices of mercy and murder change the game. The narrative is different, the game is different, and most excitedly, the gameplay is different. Take a look at the combat screen. The first option the game gives you is to fight, a small minigame about perfect timing to maximize your damage with your stick or toy knife, a nice way to add a little something extra to turn-based combat. Then you have Act, the go-to option for trying to figure out the puzzle of pacifism against whatever you are fighting, giving you options of how to interact with the monsters in front of you. Because pacifism isn't just a choice, it's a puzzle. Then you have items, usually for healing you, and mercy, the last step on your pacifism puzzle, to end the fight without any bloodshed. And I think the order of those options is really important here. Murder is always the easiest answer, at least for your brain. The fight minigame is easy to understand, enemy hit points go down, and you win when they hit 0. Mercy is a puzzle every time, and while you might learn a puzzle well enough through repetition that it takes less time than killing, new enemies always have the potential to trip you up or make you waste an endless sea of turns trying to figure out how to not fight them. So I think the order of these options is important, because to any determined player aiming for one of the game's polar opposite endings, the game tempts you towards the other, or a more neutral course of using both, making those pacifist and genocide endings that much harder to actually commit to. If you're just killing everything in your way, the item screen is coincidentally placed past the screen to pacify the monsters, forcing you to scroll over it every time you need an item, forcing you to notice it. While those aiming for mercy might get stuck in a loop later in the game, where they can't figure out the actions to end a fight, growing more frustrated as the enemy whittles down their health. The fight option is always first, always so easy to accidentally click on. To spare something, to even just talk to something in Undertale, you're forced to actively scroll past the option to kill it. In a normal turn-based game, I don't think either of those situations would have enough actual build-up to trick or sway a player away from a polarized game. You can keep your head pretty cool with just numbers to deal with. But Undertale does not fight you with just numbers. The real hitter here is how frantic enemy turns are separating your own. A bullet hell of desperately trying to outmaneuver your heart from the damage all around you. With that kind of pressure, maybe you slip up. Maybe something pushes you too far, you kill it. Or maybe you grow tired of the same old murder minigame, and something gets through to you. You talk to a monster. Undertale is pretty cheap, and on Steam for those of you who have not tried it. If you grew up playing games, or you just like a good story, you should try it out. Hey again, Internet. Thanks for watching. Here's another video you might have missed, and you should totally come hang out with us on Twitch sometime, or Tumblr, or Twitter. Choose your poison.